I don't think I've talked about Kurt Busch on the channel since the incident happened, what was it, like a month ago now, at Pocono. And so now that the news has come out that he's going to be out for the beginning of the playoffs and there still is really no timetable for a return, now I want to talk about it because I will be honest, I didn't think he'd be out that long. I thought he'd be out 1, 2, 3 races max. And then, when he said he wasn't going to be in Daytona, I was like, that's probably a smart decision. You don't want to, go to Daytona and deal with the chaos that can ensue. But then what happened today surprised me when he said he wasn't going to be able to get in for the playoffs, or at least the start of the playoffs. And so that is what we're going to talk about today. Let's get the other stuff done quickly. Subscribe if you're new. Shout out to all the Patreon members, as always, for supporting the channel. You guys are the absolute best. But today's going to be a little bit more serious. And because, again, this is like the first time I've talked about this, I have some opinions to say, honestly, about what's kind of going on with this situation and how I think it should really serve as a wake-up call, not only for everyone in the sport, but for fans like me as well. Because, again, I repeat myself, I did not think this was a big deal. I'm being completely honest. I thought, Kurt's gone for a week or two. It's a concussion. It's okay. He'll be fine. It's not fine. Not when you miss over a month and we haven't really seen, we have seen him occasionally, but it's not fine. What this has to do is with the new car. And I feel like I have to talk about it is because I have praised this new car more than probably anyone, that you can find. I love this car. The next gen car it's been my baby for 3 years, and I've seen it come to fruition. And yes, it has a few faults in terms of the racing at short tracks and stuff, but NASCAR's trying to work on that. And I think Denny Hamlin put a really good thread on Twitter about, maybe why he's seeing some of the issues at short tracks and how to fix that. That's all good. But one of the biggest issues that I feel like has to be talked about before, it's too late is the safety of the race car. That's the biggest thing we're going to talk about today because, guys, NASCAR has been extremely safe, scarily safe, like ungodly safe for the last 20 plus years. Now, God bless, that's awesome and everything, and great job to everyone involved. But with that safety comes complacency. And why that happens, or you can see it happen just in terms of the racing that is done. You cannot deny that in the last 5 to 10, well, not 10, last 5 years, the racing has gotten extremely aggressive. It doesn't matter what the track is. It's gotten very aggressive. Everyone is take, and no more give at all. Not even on lap 2 of the race. It's just take, race everyone hard. And, put someone in the wall or spin someone out. Or at Daytona, I'm going to block 7 lanes on lap 35 and cause a 20-car wreck. It'll be fine. Like, that's the aggressiveness I'm talking about. And that was fine with Gen 6 because Gen 6 gave the drivers, the sport, and the fans a sense of immunity. Like, we didn't even think about it anymore. It would take something like Ryan Newman's crash at Daytona for us to actually be like, oh, crap. Like, that was a wake-up call. Or it would take Austin Dillon's wreck at Daytona for a little bit of a wake-up call. But even then, Austin Dillon walked out of the car. So we were all, like, sitting here as fans and, and people who are actually in the sport. I'm just a fan, obviously. I run a YouTube channel, but I'm not involved in the sport. So, like, people who are actually involved in the sport, they see him walk out, and it's like, good Lord. Like, that's incredible. And then we kind of just move on. And, the racing stays aggressive and stays more aggressive. And NASCAR wants, super close racing at plate tracks that with huge closing rates of the cars. And it entices more blocking and it entices more wrecks. And everyone's safe. So it doesn't matter because we're all safe. No one's getting hurt. No fans getting hurt. No drivers getting hurt. Everyone's good. And, the reason why I'm making this video and talking about the situation is because I have a feeling deep down, and with Daytona coming up, I have a feeling deep down that something bad is going to happen with this race car. Because Kurt Busch's wreck at Pocono was very nonchalant and kind of normal. Like, it was more of a ricochet wreck with the back end and then, ricocheting into the wall. But it wasn't a wreck that you sit there and say, wow, that one can really hurt a driver. No one, when everyone was watching qualifying that day, no one, everyone said that's a hard hit, but it looked normal, to say the least. Like, it shouldn't knock you out for 2 months, essentially. My worry is that we've had a lot of talk about this car, that it is not as nice to the drivers. Let's say, I don't know the exact words to put it, but basically, the dissipation of energy when you crash in this car is not as forgiving, to say the least, for the drivers. So a normal hit that we would assume is a normal hit over the last 10 years, because Gen 6 and the car of tomorrow was so incredibly safe, and shout out to NASCAR for doing that. Incredible, like what they've done with the Gen 6 car. That, it didn't matter how you wrecked. You can go head first into a water barrel. You can flip upside down into a fence. You can get your car disintegrated in half, and you will still be able to just walk out, which was insane. And with the next gen car, we've seen other, guys take a hit, whether it be a right front tire go down. We've seen that all the time. Whether it be Kurt Busch's wreck, whether we see a car back it into the wall. Just a simple spin and back it into the wall. And even in that kind of wreck, some drivers have to catch their breath. So what happens if we go to Daytona this week? And what happens if someone gets right hooked trying to get through a wreck and hits the outside wall head on at 175 miles per hour? What happens then? We saw it at Michigan. I think it was, who was it? It was Cindric, I think it was, that went head on into the wall. And again, he was fine, but even, he said it was a hard hit. Harder than normal. I think this has to be looked at with the next gen car. Again, I love the car. But I do think when it comes to Talladega, Daytona, and, even we saw at Michigan, the speeds are back up to 200 plus miles per hour, that you gotta be careful with the safety aspects. You can't take steps backwards. Gen 6 was amazing, okay? For safety, not racing. That car sucked for racing. I want to make that clear. But in terms of safety, you can't take a step backwards. As much as I sit here and want the racing to be amazing and love my next-gen car and it's amazing and it's beautiful, I get that. But as much as I want and like that, I don't like that the safety has been compromised a little bit. Again, I'm not saying someone's going to go out there and die. I'm not saying that. Hopefully, then you go golf course. It's always a possibility when you step into a race car going 200 miles per hour. But I still think these cars are very, very safe. However, this should be a wake-up call to some people and to NASCAR as well as to why is the energy not dissipating? Why are the hits harder for the drivers? Why is this happening? How can we fix it? And that should be currently even ahead of the pecking order for, how do we fix short track racing? How do we make that better? No, the safety should be it should be number one. Should always be number one. It has been, will be forever because of that incident in 2001. And it's never going to change. Like, that incident in 2001 forever will make sure that safety is the number one priority. And that's never going to change. Everything else is kind of, it falls in line. But number one will always be safety. And so I hope Kurt Busch recovers well. But I don't know how long he's going to be out. And it's kind of scary that, a concussion, all of us, I've had a concussion before. We've all had concussions before. If you haven't, you'll experience one eventually. And some can be very simple to go through, and some can be really lingering. And that's my worry for Kurt Busch is you don't want an injury that can affect him for long term. And you can define whatever you want long term to be. So we need to look at this car and make some adjustments before the start of next season. Obviously, nothing's going to change this season, but before the start of next season, there has to be some sort of change where they can test it and be like, okay, we're able to get some of that energy out from the driver when they're feeling it hit the wall. The safer barrier, one of the greatest inventions ever made. The cars are safe, yada, yada, yada. But we can't just, with the racing that we have today and how aggressive it is and how invincible everyone still feels, that risk that something really wrong can happen has been elevated this year with this car. And the aggressiveness, we're going to Daytona, guys, and now there's 2 spots up for grabs because Kurt Busch is not going to be in the playoffs. So, it went from Ryan Blaney versus Truex to now they might both be in and everyone else can go in. But the point is, you head to a track like Daytona where we've seen so many dangerous wrecks in the past, And this time, the incentive for you, if you're not in the playoffs, is you have to go win. And how do you win these races? You block. You make ridiculous moves. And you put yourself in as much danger as possible to get the checkered flag. So we're going to see big wrecks on Saturday night or Sunday, whenever it is, because it rains in Daytona. It's summer. They can't put Daytona in the late August. You just can't do that. That's another, let's forget about that. We're talking about safety. And so this racing is not going to change because the racing is a product of what has happened over the last 20 years and the new generation of drivers where they are invincible. They feel invincible. When they get behind that wheel, they will make moves that make them, that they don't even think twice about it. Because if I hit the wall, if I make a mistake, I will be safe. That is the recent history. No matter what you say, 30 years ago, it wasn't like that. 30 years ago, even the drivers, you got to be fearless to go, drive a race car and try to win. But still, there's a little bit of a safety mechanism in their head. They were like, okay, hold on. There's no safer barriers. Let's not, there's deaths during that time as well. Let's take it a little bit easy. Nowadays, none of that. No, you do not go into that race car thinking, of any of the consequences you might feel, because your job is to go out there and do the best you can for the team, and everyone around you is going to be aggressive, so you have to be aggressive, so you got to play into everyone's game. And I just feel like the bubble is growing, and it's growing, and it's growing, and we've, the sport's gotten through 1 or 2 or 3 really nasty wrecks, and nothing serious has happened, and I just have this bad feeling that this car is not as safe as we should want it to be. With the racing that's going on now as well, it gives me a queasy feeling in the stomach to a point where Daytona's coming up, and I'm very excited for Daytona, but I'm watching this race. I use this example, guys. What's the reason I don't watch IndyCar? You guys ask me all the time. I explained it. The reason I don't watch IndyCar is because, well, there's 2 reasons. One reason, on the ovals, it scares me. It scares me. That's just the main reason. I watch these guys go 225, 230 miles per hour, even at the Brickyard, it's 235, whatever it is. And that scares me. And it's because I think I was scarred from 2011 when I was watching that and I saw that. And how old was I? I was 14 years old. And, I just always, I don't want to watch it, and I don't feel comfortable watching it. Now, I know a lot of IndyCar fans say, well, it's mostly road courses now. I watch Formula One. That's kind of my thing for open wheel road racing. It's Formula One. It's, it's not really IndyCar. So those are the 2 reasons why I don't watch IndyCar. I'm not saying I'm not going to watch NASCAR because it's not safe. NASCAR is still incredibly safe, but I don't like that queasy feeling I'm getting. And maybe you guys don't have it, but I do a little bit. I have a little bit of a queasy feeling because it's just, I don't want the drivers getting hurt. And, I love the racing and everything, but still, that should be priority number 1 is keep everyone safe. Jesus Christ, Sky scared me. He just opened the door. Okay. Oh, and he's under the desk. Okay. So, that's going to be it for me. I just wanted to talk about that, and God bless, and prayers out to Kurt Busch that he is okay. There's no long-term effect. And again, this all happened from a pretty common wreck, getting loose off a corner and backing it into the wall. A little bit of a ricochet hits in the front and hits the wall as well. Hard hit, but not something unusual. And here we are a month later, and it's still carrying on, and that's not a good feeling. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, guys. Am I overreacting, or, should I be calmer about it? I'm worried enough to make a video about it. I'm not faking this or anything. I'm genuinely a little bit worried about the safety of the cars. So let me know what you think, and whatever solutions you have. I'm not an engineer or aero scientist or whatever. I don't have the solution to fix that. I don't have the knowledge, the intelligence to be able to provide a solution. I'm just saying I'm worried. And hopefully the people that have that knowledge and that intelligence and are way more qualified to tackle an issue like this can tackle that issue. I'm just saying, in my opinion, it's a pretty big issue, in my opinion. So let me know what you think. And good luck to Ty Gibbs, who keeps filling in the number 45. He keeps getting experience, and what looks like he will be in the Cup Series next season in the 18 car, so he needs to keep going as well. And just trying to get better week in, week out. So take care of yourselves. I will see you guys tomorrow for another video. And Daytona is in 2 days' time. Again, if it doesn't rain, hopefully it does not rain, but it probably will. And take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.